Poletz, and I have been involved actually in creating a sister church, and this was in Bucha. And when we decided that we would like to have, when we were celebrating our 75th anniversary, to have a sister church, um, I went searching for a church and happened to go, stopped in a barber shop and said, "Is there a Ukrainian church?" And people said, "Yeah, it's out in a field." So which way? They pointed the direction. I went there and found a little church. And at that time, the church service was over and people were leaving. And people said, "Well, now they're in the restaurant and the patriarch is here too with them." So, uh, well, where is that? I went over to that restaurant and priest came out. He says, "Well, I can't talk to you right now." I said, "I'll come back next week and we will decide, talk about sister church." Next week I came and we agreed upon it and so on and so on and so on. Well, anyways, um, this is about sister church. Then uh, when this attack was happening right now in Ukraine, and actually there was advance over on Bucha, and there was another advance, and then this priest, when I talked to him, he says, "I got my wife and two daughters, sent them over to Rio, and I stayed, and then when the Russians came in, they took over my building, chased me out of it, and then they started shooting people out on the street, and there were a number of people already dead. So I organized to get a flatbed truck, and we loaded these bodies on the truck and started heading toward the cemetery. And when we started approaching cemetery, there were some Russians sitting over there, and they started shooting at us. So I said, "Let's turn around and go to the church." We went, turned around, and actually dug a communal grave and buried all of those 67 bodies initially over there in the cemetery. Since then, they were reburied in the regular cemetery. That's the story of the period when there was a conflict inside of Bucha. Okay.
So there is a memorial marker at St. Andrew, and many of our ecumenical partners have paid their respects at that memorial. And so your sister church in Bucha is connected to the larger body of Christ
Yes,
responding to this tragedy.
it's an interesting. Everything is interesting story how things have happened. Why I have, why we picked Bucha, why we actually even picked a sister church. Because I have written this in the newspaper, this Svoboda, also about finding a sister church. After we have done. But since then, not many other churches have done this. It's somehow. But in this case, Bucha has been historically somehow.
So how many years now have you had the sister church relationship?
Well, it was in 2000 we celebrated our 75th anniversary, and from that time we were actually 24 years.
24 years.
Yes, that's it.
So I hope when we have a Minneapolis delegation in Ukraine, we visit
Well,
St. Andrew.
hopefully we will. I have already the church board has organized a committee to celebrate the 100th anniversary
Next year.
next year, and hopefully that somehow they decide also to have, because on the 75th anniversary we did invite priest and Father Andrew and also one parishioner. Um, she's right now professor in Kyiv University. And they came and they stayed with us 2 weeks. And since at that time they were not recognized the church, we had difficulty, having priests serve in here. So we got Bishop Sevolod eventually give the right for him to serve liturgy in the church, and he did serve right here. So that's a lot of many interesting.
We're all part of the body of Christ.
Yes, yes.
Slava Ukraine.
Slava, Heroyam Slava.